Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Amar Elm, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are absolutely thrilled to be joined by Zach Parker, founder of Agile for Life Coaching. Zach's book, Agile Sucks When You Do It Wrong, is an Amazon bestseller. He's also a retired veteran with 15 years in the military, and for nearly a decade, he's been partnering with leaders across Fortune 50 enterprises, SMBs, and governments to diagnose and resolve the root causes of organizational friction and empowering teams to achieve exceptional results. Now, his main focuses are leadership coaching and personal development coaching. Zach, welcome to Founders Future.
Hey, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, I'm excited to dive in. I always like to time travel in a sense. So take me a little trip down memory lane to before you started Agile for Life coaching. What were you doing at the time? And then what was really the motivation behind starting the company?
At the time, I was trying to figure out what it was that I really wanted to do with the rest of my life. Like that whole, what are you going to do forever thing. And I realized after a lot of reading and a lot of soul searching, that's really too much of a, it's too much of a time frame to look at.
Yeah,
What I've found is that life takes these, you tend to reinvent yourself every few years, right?
mm,
Every 10 to 15 years or so, there's a new path that you kind of go on. And you see this in every successful person out there. They might start out maybe in sales and then they build some business and then they take that knowledge that they've gained from that business and they go into some other kind of business. They're
yeah,
coaching or they're speaking or they're doing something where they're trying to help in a different way, but using the knowledge that they've gained from the decades past or the decade past it, maybe. So that's where things started to kick off for me was I had spent a long time with the military. I knew how to lead people and I understood that part. And then I was looking at what's the road ahead, right? And I got into software development
mhm,
and software development, that space. I'm not a programmer, but I understood leadership and I understood how to do analysis. And so I started out as what was called a business analyst, where you're trying to figure out like, how do we build products,
mm,
right? How do we create things? And then I got into the agile side of things. I became a Scrum product owner. And there's just a subtle difference between those two things, right? If you ask anybody in the community, yeah, they're going to say, oh, it's a night and day. It's totally two different things. But in terms of building things, that's what they're both focused on, right? The
yeah,
business analyst is trying to figure out how do we build the right product? How do we move a project along? Product owner is doing the same thing.
yeah,
So I took that product owner path and I found that along the way, I was doing a lot more coaching of my teams and the people who were supposed to be the coaches for the teams, the scrum masters. I was doing a
yeah,
lot more coaching for everyone about how we were supposed to do the work and what the point of all the things that we were doing was. And I really liked that. I really
yeah.
enjoyed doing that stuff. And so that led me to say, why don't I just start a business? I got that fever dream like Michael Gerber talks about in the E-Myth, right? I
Yeah.
should just start a business doing this because I'm really good at doing it. I don't know anything about business. Ah, screw it. I'll just learn it along the way.
I love that. So I'm curious what the thought process was behind moving from working with software development teams and coaching them, and then taking those principles and applying it to a broader market. Why
Mhm.
not just focus on the software development teams, carve out that niche, and focus solely on there? Why transition?
The so the big problem in the book that I wrote, the big problem is that when you're working with software teams, there's a lot of limitation around how much you go beyond just the software side of things, right? So you kind of have to focus on the product itself. Now you could reasonably try to pull those people into masterminds and coaching sessions and do stuff like that, but just focus on them as a client, and that's fine. That's where I think the beginnings of my client base comes from.
Cool.
But whenever you're talking about developing software, it really has to be about the software development side of things. And
Fair.
so, what I really wanted to do was help people become better, right? Maximize your potential and not just see yourself as a developer because you're so much more than that. You're so much
100%.
more than a product owner or a scrum master. You have a lot to offer the world,
Yeah.
and you should realize those things, right?
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Let's dive deeper into Agile for Life coaching, what it looks like today, and really what you're looking to do in the future. So, let's start off with two things. Who would you say now is your ideal customer? What are some characteristics that they have? And then from there, we can dive into the different offers and services you provide.
Sure. So the ideal customer is generally going to be someone who is focused on personal growth. I like working with tech executives, tech leadership, people who are in that space because that's my background. I also like working with military folks because I have a background in the military. Those people who realize that, hey, there's something that I want to achieve in life, and there's something that's standing in my way in my own character.
Mm.
There's something about the way that I approach things that I can't figure out what it is that I'm doing wrong,
Yeah,
and I need to move beyond this. But I don't know what that is. If somebody could just help me, and
yeah.
that's what I do. I just hold up a mirror essentially and say, "Here's you. Is this what you want to be?" And if it's
No,
not, then let's figure out how we can change that.
I like that. Do they have to be in some sort of leadership position to work with
No,
you? Okay.
no.
But they just need to have that drive or that inkling inside of them of, I know I can do more, I can be more, and I want
Mhm.
to grow in some sort of capacity.
Exactly. Yeah. You can't lead. I've tried to do this many times. You can't lead people to a place of wanting to grow personally. If they don't want it themselves, there's nothing you can do to help them do that. So once you've discovered that part of yourself, though, it's hard to let go of it.
Yeah.
It's hard to shake that feeling that, oh, I could do more for the world, and then just sit there and be frustrated every day,
Yeah.
knowing you could do something more, but not knowing how to do that.
100%. It's frustrating. I know the feeling where it's like you want to push someone to improve, but it needs to come internally. I'll share a super quick story. When I was in university, I found a way to torrent a lot of courses, like Russell Brunson, Ty Lopez, Grant Cardone, Jordan Belfort, and a bunch of other names, but those were the biggest names. I torrented probably hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of courses. And I was like ecstatic. I was going through all of them, and I gave it to all of my friends. And I'm like,
Mm.
go through this. And I'm like, hey, I'm like, this is super valuable information. None of them went through it. And it's
Yep.
just a part of it is because you have to intrinsically want it, but also if you don't pay for it yourself or go through the trouble of figuring out how do I get this for free, then you don't value it as much.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. There's my mind is weird sometimes, but you can see this play out like on the political stage nationally,
Mm.
globally even. Whenever you look at, not to get too much into politics, but years ago when George Bush was president of the United States, he said, "We're not going to engage in nation building." And then the first thing he did was to try to start nation building.
Yeah,
And I realized back then, I was like, man, there is no way to get people to want to have a democracy or a republic if they don't want it enough to go and do it themselves. That's why it
yeah,
works in the United States, because the people wanted that form of government. And you can't go around the world and hand someone else the opportunity if they don't want that.
yeah,
You know, it
100%. They
it
wanted
just
it
doesn't
enough
work.
to start a war in the 1700s. That's how badly they wanted it. So it's like,
Yeah, they
you're
picked a fight with the biggest guy on the block,
yeah,
the world's greatest superpower, and it wasn't like they were just around for a few years. This was the Great Britain at the time had 500 or 600 years worth of global dominance.
yeah,
So it wasn't, they weren't messing with just some small timer. You, and the point is, you got to really want it. Like
100%.
you've got to want it. You got to go seek the information that you know is going to be helpful to you. Just like you said, torrenting, I wouldn't recommend people torrent, but
Don't,
you know,
don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. But as a university student making $600 a month, I was
yeah,
determined to figure out a way. But with that being said, let's dive into a little bit of the offers. What would you say is your core offerings? What does it actually look like to work with you?
sure. What I like to do is I like to invite people to join a lunch and learn where
Okay.
we just dip our toes in. And mostly what the lunch and learn is going to be, it's a free thing. You can join. I try to do them every Tuesday and Thursday. It's going to be hit and miss over the next month because I do have a lot of other things that are happening. But generally speaking, and try to get people into those to just see what kind of information are we talking about and how do we grow personally, right?
Mm,
That starts the lunch and learn will alternate between Maxwell's 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, and we'll throw a couple other books in there just for good measure. Then the next thing after that would be getting into if you invite me to come to your organization, we're going to play this game. And this game right here, the leadership game, right? And this is from John Maxwell as well. But the leadership game is essentially a facilitated conversation that helps you reveal gaps in knowledge or gaps in the communication ability between people in your organization. It raises the awareness of leadership towards issues that are going on in the organization. It's a lot of fun and it's a relaxed atmosphere. It's a gamified conversation,
mm,
right?
yeah,
So you get points and people can win and all that stuff, but it's really a fantastic way to discover ways to improve the organization. And it goes back, I like it because it goes back to the experience that I've had in software development with a meeting called a retrospective, right?
mm,
And so anybody who's been in software development knows that there's a this retrospective meeting is where you look back over the last couple of weeks or the last period and you say, what went right? What went
yeah,
wrong? How can we improve? What are the things we need to be aware of in the future? Right? What are the obstacles that we see that are coming, or what deadlines do we need to be aware of?
got it.
And then,
So, yeah, go for it.
so after that, then we move into the realm of the mastermind itself, which is like a strategy session, right? Strategic growth session. You can call it lots of different stuff. Personal growth training. I think I call it the strategic growth session or something like that on my website. But it's just a way of, again, having a facilitated conversation where everyone in the room is focused on discovering ways that they can implement different things into their lives that are the a shared understanding. So we in one mastermind we might have the whole thing is done on Maxwell's 15 invaluable laws of growth. We might have another mastermind that would be 4 to 6 weeks where we each week we just spend an hour and talk about the 21 invaluable laws or the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. So those kinds of things. And we just have, it's more than a book club or a book review. It's a conversation that we're having about, all right, this gives us a theme that we can start the conversation about. How does that apply in your life and what are the things that you can do to to improve your life,
Yeah,
to improve your business, to improve your leadership ability?
100%. So is that online or is that in person? The lunch and learn.
Either the lunch and learns will be online. Those are done
Okay,
over
perfect.
Zoom.
Perfect. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
That way you don't have to geographically be there to take advantage of it. So you've got that. Then it also sounds like you've got workshop days with a particular organization, and that's where you go through the leadership game. And then you've also got the mastermind as well. Typically, how long is the mastermind? So if I sign up, is it 6 months, 12 months? What does that look like?
Generally, it's going to be once a week, every week for 4 to 6 weeks, depending on which book we go with.
Got it. Now, walk me through when it comes to the back end of the business and acquiring more clients, generating more leads. What are you currently doing on that front?
So there's a lot of word of mouth. There's a lot of direct, like, contact. I meet someone, they refer me to someone else.
Okay.
So that's the bulk, I think, of the clients that I work with. I do a lot of content on LinkedIn as well, just to try to get more visibility. I haven't really done any marketing. There's we did do some like cold calling, outreach kind of stuff for a while. That didn't really seem to work out very well, so
Yeah.
we stopped that.
So you haven't done any marketing. I'm curious why that is.
Not marketing in the traditional sense. Like, we don't do paid ads, we don't do anything like that. That's just a choice. I have plenty of clients that I'm working with from referrals that are I'm not gonna I'm not worried about generating a lot of leads through, that I can never serve. So that's just the way that we've chosen to go. Maybe that will change over time. Like I said in the beginning, you get one idea about, oh, this is how the next 5 to 10 years are going to go, and maybe that changes.
Yeah.
Maybe
Fair
over
enough. That,
over
that
time you start bringing in additional coaches or hiring more people. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I'm curious your perspective on this though, because I talk to a lot of coaches, a lot of consultants, and lead generation is always a big topic of discussion. And the idea that tends to come up a lot is how do you build a predictable lead generation machine, right? Like a faucet where you can turn it on, turn it off, get more leads, get less leads. And typically, it's not rocket science. There's two approaches that people could do. It's either paid ads or cold outreach when it comes to building more predictability. Obviously, you've got referrals, you've got affiliates, you've got those things. But I was talking to a leadership coach last week, and he was referrals, word of mouth, that was his main thing. But he was expressing frustrations around inconsistencies and unpredictability with relying on those streams.
Mm.
So I'm curious, have you run into any challenges similar? And is there anything that you do or are planning to do to build more predictability and consistency when it comes to marketing and lead gen?
Sure. I think whenever you are starting any business, there's you got to figure out where your clients are coming from. And if you don't know, then starting with cold calls seems to be like the the most reasonable way, the most logical way to get started anyway. Paid advertisements would be a great option as well. But for a business like this, like, those things can work, right? But people really want to know, like, it's an intimate kind of a thing, right? People want to know who you are. They don't want to just see an ad on LinkedIn or an ad on Facebook. That might get someone interested enough to contact you, but they want to understand who you are. And if there's John Maxwell has 56,000 coaches, I think. He gives them all access to marketing materials. If they're all using the same thing, what sets you apart?
Yeah,
What makes you different from the other 55,999 coaches that are out there? And that's just through the Maxwell organization, right? There's untold numbers of other coaches. That what sets you apart? What makes you unique? And so that's where I like having the face-to-face conversations with people. And so, like, I joined, not the Better Business, the Chamber of Commerce. Couldn't think of the word there. I joined the local Chamber of Commerce. I joined Rotary Club, what's the speaker, the Toastmasters. So that way I can get in front of people and I can actually talk to them, and they can get to know me. And then we have the opportunity. And then there's some other networking organizations that I do online as well that provide the opportunity to have those face-to-face conversations with people and let them know, hey, this is what I do. This is how I can help you. If you're having these kinds of issues, let me know and I'd be happy to come in and help out.
yeah, yeah. Walk me through your vision. So when you think over the next 12 months of where you want to take Agile for Life coaching, what are revenue targets, performance targets? What are you really aiming towards?
Sure, I think so. For the revenue targets, we're looking for $500,000 over the next 12 months at least. And then just for what was the other? Sorry, what was the other
Or
question you had?
just general goals that you're aiming towards.
So we would like to be in at least 10 large organizations, talking over 1,000 people in those
Wow.
organizations in the next 12 months. That would be a super beneficial thing for us. I think we would be happy with the amount of service that we could provide to those organizations. And then the our personal goals to change those organizations from the inside, helping people to become to develop their leadership capability, to lift the lid, as Maxwell puts it. He says you gotta there's a lid that you have. You can't make people better leaders than you are. So you can only bring them up to just under where you're at. So you need to improve your ability to lead so that you can make better leaders.
Yeah, I love that. What do you feel like is the biggest challenge you're facing right now to hitting these targets?
Probably just the what we were talking about a minute ago, right? The lead generation.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people and I do a lot of business with smaller organizations right now, but getting into those larger organizations takes a lot more work. And so meeting the people who are the decision makers in those places, getting them into the lunch and learn, getting into
Yeah.
their organizations with the leadership game, those are the challenges that we're facing right now.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense. It's common challenge in business. Walk me through if you were talking to new entrepreneurs that are looking to get into coaching in 2025. I know you mentioned some things of what's going to be the differentiator, what makes you different than all the other people. I'm curious if you can maybe share some pieces of wisdom or a piece of advice that you would give to people just starting out in 2025.
Yeah, I think I just got off a coaching call right before we started here, and I think the number one thing that any new coach needs to understand is it's not a mentorship or a consultation or an opportunity for you to showcase everything that you know. I read a lot. I try to read 60 books a year, and
Wow.
30 of those books are books that I've read before
Yeah.
because my philosophy is every book that has information in it that's good for you, you're going to get more information the more you read it. So if you go back, it's just like people who read the Bible, they don't read it one time. You're not going to get everything you need out of one reading. It's the same thing with these Maxwell books, right? The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. You're not going to get everything you need out of one reading. You might get a good idea about where you're going to go, but you're going to go out, you're going to take maybe 1 to 3 things from that book that you're going to apply in your life, and then you're going to go out into the world and you're going to try to apply those things and you're going to learn some things along the way. And then you're going to come back in a year or maybe 2 years and you're going to read the book again and you're going to say, "Oh my goodness, I don't remember reading this part, but it's applicable to this point in my life because now things have changed."
Yeah.
Right? So I read a lot and I have a lot of this information in my brain, and being able to give that to people is something that I'm like, yes, I want to be able to do that. But when you're a coach, you don't. You just don't. Coaching is not about telling people what you know, it's about helping them to uncover the person that they are and to figure
Mhm.
out what it is they need to do to improve that person.
Yeah, I love that. What is the best way for people to reach out to you to work with you?
You can send me an email at zach@agileforlifecoaching.com. That would probably be the best, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I spend a lot of time on there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Zach, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Amar.
Awesome. So that wraps up another insightful episode of Founders Future. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to reach out to Zach at agileforlifecoaching.com. That's ZAC at agileforlifecoaching.com. And if you are a business owner and you're looking to scale your business and really enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to discover how we can support your growth journey. Until then, keep on climbing.